let me just show you quick some of the stuff out here that I use all the time and come into races. First thing is this bike cube bag. I got this bag last year. Let's see, it is by Mountainsmith, and it's just a really great bag. So I can put my helmet and usually the way I set it up is helmet, shoes, and gloves in here in a nice, and glasses as well. If I have a spare pair of glasses, I'll put those in there. In the middle goes jerseys and dry clothes. Also, there's a little pocket. So there are big pockets. This thing, I got also a pocket here for electronics. So I've got my head unit in there, my Wahoo. Plus I've got a couple tire pressure sensor monitors, or tire pressure gauges. And I've got some chamois cream. That's really for road. I don't bother with that really in cross. And then I've got, usually on a race day, what I'll do is I'll take a skin suit and I'll take a jersey and bib just to be safe. So I've got those in there with a couple base layers. Right now the weather's still beautiful, so not real concerned with cold. But I will throw some arm warmers and stuff like that as cross goes on, because you know how it gets. And then the last one over here, usually I carry food and water in here. I've been using these little, I'll just show you this, these little triathlon sort of water bottles. So I stick one of these in my back pocket for the race. That way I don't need any water bottles, cages on the bike, which is awesome. So these come in really handy. I generally would never drink more than this in a race for 45 minutes anyway. So that goes in here. I also have a bunch of pins. I've got probably 150 pins in here, but you never know when you need an extra one, or when the pins that they give you at the race are no good. So then I got water. I also have one of my favorite products, which is the Canberra Sport tea tree wipes. These are great for after a race. They're not great for taking mud off, but they're great for getting you clean. They're really nicer for road when it's a little bit less muddy. But these work great. Keep those on hand. And then also I've got a towel in here, which it's always good to have a towel for showering. If there's no place to get changed, it's always good to have a towel for dressing. You just kind of drape it around you like a kilt, and you can pull your bibs on and off like that. You know, generally, if the race is far enough away, I'm not wearing my bib shorts there. That's like, you know, that's for little kids playing hockey where they come to the rink dressed with their equipment. So I get changed there, kind of make sure you get there early enough and work your way into the day. Let me just show you a couple other things. Some improvements to Jake here, Jake the Snake. So I got a new KOM climbing, or KOM cycling Wahoo unit, which I'm going to bring the GoPro today. So this one actually has a removable GoPro mount on there. There's just a couple little 2 millimeter screws underneath. You can, if you want to take the mount off, you can. I don't think I'm gonna take it off. So that's nice. It's much more secure than the mount I was using last week in Grand Island. The mount went flying and I lost the Wahoo temporarily. But also down here, you can see the new Power2Max Power Meter. This was super cheap. I got it for 490 bucks. It is an FSA Mega Exo bottom bracket, or 170 millimeter crank length. So when I bought the bike, it had 172.5, which is okay. I can ride those. My other cross bike has 170 cranks, and I also had a stages. I thought because they were both FSA that meant that I could interchange the stages power meter, but that wasn't the case because the one is a BB30 and this one's a Mega Exo. So I looked for the stages because I just wanted to get kind of a cheap power meter. The reason I like a power meter on the cross bike is really just when you're training in between races and things like that. I don't know, I'm trying to track things in training peaks, and it just without the power, just based on heart rate alone, it just seems like I just lose the data that I've been working on throughout the year. So I just like to have it. It's stupid, I'm sure. Hopefully it comes in handy with gravel racing in the spring, which I'm going to try to do more of. But so I added that onto the bike, and I've been liking it so far. The last thing here I'm going to show you is a new pump that I got. So this is Topeak. This is by Topeak. It is their Joe Blow Dualie. Now what the Dualie is, it has two different gauges. So the one on the left hand side goes 0 to 30 psi, and it is it has half psi marks on it, so you can really dial it in. If you're using a fat bike, a mountain bike, where maybe you want to run 17.5 psi, you can actually get it on this pump. And then on the right hand side, it only goes up to 70 psi. But it's a nice pump. It does have the typical Joe Blow head, which I'm going to tell you I'm not a fan of. I never have really been a fan of it. Presta on the gray side and black, and the Schrader on the black side, I'm not a huge fan of it. This thing is so hard to push. Once you get, I mean, you're dialing it into half a psi accuracy, and then you pull this thing off and you probably lose 3 psi because it's just a shitty design. But a couple things about this. So one thing I really do like though is that the chamber on this is just huge. And like yesterday I set up the these Maxxis wheels, and I was able to use this pump to set them up tubelessly. So it's great for setting up tubeless tires. It's great for getting air in the tire quickly. And then usually how I've been using it until I get a new pump head for it, because I think that's going to be really the way to go, is I just go over and then I use my digital gauge to take out air until I get to the exact PSI I want to get to. So usually I've been running about 27 lately. That's about my weight. Somebody said the other day, I think it was Helen Wyman, said, you know, a good place to start is your weight divided by 10 plus 10 for tubeless or clincher tires, and about plus 5 for tubular. So I'm at about 173 or 4 pounds most days. So, you know, 175 pounds, let's just say. So, you know, that 17.5 plus 10 is 27.5. I've been putting it there or a little less, and I've been great. Usually a little less in the mud, a little harder when it's dry, and it's been fine. So until I get a new head, I'm gonna just keep doing that. But so far, so good.